Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you might be. Welcome to Fandom Legacy on our discussion of Babylon 5. We're in season 4, coming towards the end. Doing 3 episodes tonight. And I'm with me right now. I have Mike from Pacific 414, Phil McCracken from Release McCracken, and we sent cash money out to get us some Cheetos and cheese doodles and such, so he'll be coming back from the whole market here soon, hopefully, with our snacks so that we can enjoy as we talk about this season. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Doing okay.
Can't complain. It's the day before Easter, so it's been a good weekend so far.
Yeah, it's actually been kind of nice here. It's been a little bit warmer. The snow's melting away, so I got my bunny traps out, so I'm going to get that little bugger this year. Gonna get him.
By the way, Cash Money is not getting any tip from me.
Tip? What tip?
He's supposed to be delivering some snacks for us, but he ain't getting a tip from me.
Well, no, he's not doing it as an employee. He's doing it as our gopher. He's the official gopher of Fandom Legacy. So going down to Fullerton, California, get some cheese to come back to his palatial estates in Beverly Hills, and then he'll join us. So, but
give me some bugles. I like bugles.
Oh, bugle! Oh, you should have said something sooner, man. Maybe we can text him. Mike, text him, see if he can get some bugles as well. Of course, so we've been, of course, continuing on with our Babylon 5. We have 3 episodes. I know the last one we'll be talking about is one that Mike particularly wanted to talk about. I think you said it's your favorite of Babylon 5, or in the top at least 3?
Of this season and of Babylon 5 in general, when you look at all 5 seasons.
Mm-hmm. And, that says something about that episode, because there were some damn good episodes throughout the series, and even in the season itself. So I suppose we should go without further ado, but we can ado all we want. I'll add the stage, the lovely Claudia Christian. Thank you for joining us, Claudia. I hope things are going well for you out there in California. They're doing great. Thank you. No. So the episode in question that we're doing right now is the exercise of vital powers, plural. And things are getting the gear with the Earth Civil War here. They're bringing the war home to Earth. Garibaldi is going to Mars to finally meet the ever mysterious William Edgars. And Lita and Franklin are trying to figure out how they can attempt to make contact with the frozen telepaths that were being used by Psi Corps and actually going to be used for the shadow weapons, basically the core of shadow ships and various other nefarious things that they had. One of which, of course, as we know, is Bester's lover. So with that, we have the lovely Hirsch of doing her usual news broadcast through the series, and John Sheridan himself taking the battle to the enemy. Of course, ever enigmatic Mr. Edgars. No one's seen him. Nobody knows what he looks like. He respects his privacy. Respect my privacy. And his little toady, his little henchman here, going along to bring him to meet Mr. Edgars himself. Let me make sure I have that here. Okay. Garibaldi still kind of bitter and sore at his former head officer, Sheridan himself. Have that little discussion, and of course he needs to be blindfolded, which he doesn't like. Anyone who knows Garibaldi knows that he does not like that type of situation. You never know who's going to jump him. But secrecy is secrecy. We go, of course, to that med lab where Lita and Franklin are trying their best to get our esteemed telepaths going. Something in the plan there. And, Zach being ever helpful. The simple man that he is, not a simpleton, but I would sit back and say Zach is a very simple man. Things are kind of clear cut. In some ways, he might be a little naive in certain areas, but he does know his job, or he wouldn't be wearing that uniform. And how can they make that contact with those telepaths? And as you can see, Lita Alexander is not happy about this prospect at all.
No.
I would like to wake up to that face every day. Yeah.
What a beautiful redhead.
He is a very beautiful redhead. Extremely beautiful. Still is, too. Of course, coming into contact with Lita. And the big shock is he's awake. And I suppose trying to find whatever humanity is left. What's inside? What is there? What can they do with it? Of course, Garibaldi, with his former, I suppose you could say, his girlfriend, live in love, at Edgar's. Now she is the wife of Mr. Edgar's, having a little discussion. And we finally meet Mr. Edgar's himself, a man who ran the FBI himself, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., father of Stephanie Zimbalist, of course, Remington Steele. Now, of course, talk about a May-December wedding between those two.
Mm-hmm.
And he lays it on the line with Mr. Garibaldi that, you really think that we have free elections. You really think that the politicians are calling the shots. They aren't. It's the mega corporations that are doing the shots. That they arranged Clark to do this martial law, but didn't realize that Psychor was going to get their fingers into this situation until, excuse me, a little bit way too late. And so you can see that he had some problems with telepaths. And it doesn't take much to figure out that there's something to do around that with the telepaths. What a noble actor he was in his day. And when I mean his day, when he was alive, because, he was always a consummate professional actor. A little bit more of the back and forth between Edgar's and Garibaldi. Garibaldi's nice palatial cell, you might say, at Edgar's estate. More discussion, of course, about what we're going to do about the telepaths now that they are here. And we got that. And we have a little bit of a flashback or a dream here of Mr. Garibaldi in the interrogation room. Someone from Psychor. Is this dream? Is this reality? What is this? Is he remembering something? Of course, the discussion between Lisa and Mr. Edgars himself. The dream continue on for, of course, Mr. Garibaldi. Hey, DJ Ronnie G, welcome to the show. You and your turtles. I hope you're having a great weekend. So, thoughts about how everything has been stacking up so far that we've had with this episode, with Edgar's revealing himself to Garibaldi. Garibaldi's seeming to have a flashback or a dream or a memory. And, of course, our friends, the telepaths.
It's setting up for really not just a great episode, but a great arc.
Mm-hmm. You might sit back and say that, sorry to hear that you're under the weather there, Mr. DJ Ronnie G, but yeah, you got tomorrow off. Make the best of it. Oh, Mike is always Londo, by the way. He's always Londo. He's just missing his Jakar, his Chin-Ka. Lita, of course, trying to get into, and that's Kenneth Cortland, as I am, Internet Move Database, was so kind to tell us there. And Lita's now taking a look at the people who were messing around with our telepath friends. Kind of ugly little socks. And, of course, triggering off an emotion. choking Mr. Dr. Franklin. And now he wants to take himself out, which he does. He's living in a nightmare. Actually, he doesn't. She knocks him out, but he definitely wants to take himself out because of basically the living hell that the shadows have put him through. And Garibaldi with Edgar's again. So, I mean, basically, this is the gist of the whole episode. Edgar's and Garibaldi and Lita and Franklin doing their perspective things for the next step of what's going to happen, how this is going to intersect together. Of course, you have Sheridan out there tooling around the universe, leaving poor Ivanova at home. She wants to go. And we also learned that they have been able to liberate a colony. Beta Durrani, I believe is how it's called. Mm-hmm. Is a mid-range military outpost. Of course, to making those contacts with those telepaths. Franklin is devising an artificial equivalent, so she doesn't have to do that. And needless to say, the big thing also, no big surprise, Garibaldi's still in love with Lise. And who knows, maybe she still has feelings for him, but we got ourselves a little triangle going there. Well, it's not Eridani. It's not Eridani. It's spelled Durani, Durrani. So, So, Edgar's Ice Cream Shop. No, it's not Edgar's. It's Edgar's. Edgar's as in as a Mr. Ed Edgar's. We also learning that President Clark has been getting extremely paranoid since taking office. Learning, of course, the Shadow's interest in the Psi Corps. He developed an interest as well. Paranoia has increased and started giving the Corps more and more power since telepaths were able to tell him absolutely whether people around them were loyal or not. So basically, he was using them as thought police to make sure they have that loyalty. And of course, the Corps isn't. The Corps, of course, isn't eager to give up its newfound clout. They think of themselves as higher evolution. And everyone else is like beneath them. They're the next step. And Edgar is also afraid of Sheridan. If he takes the battle to Earth, Clark may panic and the Corps might be on precedent to take control of society. And he doesn't want that to happen. And he doesn't think they'd be able to reverse. So he doesn't like Clark. He doesn't like Sheridan. He doesn't like the Corps. So it sounds like he's got his own personal war going on. And Lise obviously knows something's up because she wants Garibaldi to leave. She's warning him, leave. Leave.
This is a dangerous situation for you. You shouldn't be here.
Right. Exactly. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. And Garibaldi, of course, said that Mars has tried to kill him before. And one of those was his trek across the surface was unclear in the we mentioned of an infection. And then, of course, in the comics book series, there was that type of situation also in that. And the fact that he swore he'd never come back to Mars, well, looks like he let himself down on that one. And I don't know if you noticed that, but when Garibaldi stood in front of the mirror during that questioning scene, you noticed that the mirror was warped, distorting his image, which could be a symbol that's showing that what's warped inside of him.
I kind of took it as it was them messing with Garibaldi's head to make him see an image that's not actually there.
We also found out that through Edgar's that Clark had his own Night of the Long Knives. If people are kind of familiar, the National Socialists did that to the SA faction in 1934 because the SA were plotting their own little takeover of that particular evil empire at that time. So yeah, there's a lot of paranoia. There's a lot of infighting. You don't know who's going to be shooting who in this entire thing. So that basically comes down. It's a very simple plot to this whole episode. Those two things. What can we do about the telepaths? What's Edgar up to? And what's the situation on Earth? It doesn't need to be a complicated plot. It can be simple, straightforward, because, well, that's where we're at right now.
Again, it's a setup for the rest of the story arc.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's not even, I wouldn't even call it filler. It's absolutely like, okay, we're going to ramp this up. This is the start of potentially a trilogy or such. And of course, that's the one thing we see.
We're in at this point, but guess what? There's more.
Yep. Such as these poor socks here that Edgar's is experimenting on, who happen to be, of course, telepaths. Any other thoughts about this episode we have going on here?
It's a crucial episode that I think people need to watch in order to understand the rest of the story.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the way for the season.
Mm-hmm.
I like the story behind it, where, the man power behind the throne, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no matter what today's world or in the past, there's always people behind the throne. Mm-hmm. And here's an example of it. He's not aligned with Psychor. He's not aligned with Earth, and he's. I don't even want to say he's part of the Mars Rebellion, though he seems to be, part of it. It just seems like he's just a representation of what's power behind the throne is corporations, businessmen.
Exactly. The puppet master is pulling the strings.
And in our world, most of our senators, congressmen on the state level or national level, there are corporations and businessmen behind these politicians, which, today you'll agree with, tomorrow you won't. So, I like this. It shows that even in a futuristic society, overall things don't change.
Well, I mean, we have seen it throughout the ages. In Roman times, you had Olivia, Augustus's wife, who was basically the power behind the throne with the power that she had in manipulation. Serjanus with Tiberius. You had that little situation on there. The Borgias in their little shenanigans. So, yeah, there's always been people behind the scenes trying to be like the shadow puppet masters.
There's always people moving the chess pieces.
And I would say
always chess pieces.
Right. And sadly, we're the pawns.
Yep.
And really, what I'd say is Edgar's is out for one person only, and that's himself, Edgar's. And deep down, he's probably thinking that he thinks he's a hero, or he's doing the right thing. More than likely not. We'll find out as the show goes along. In fact, we will actually step into it, and here is probably what has been. Oh, I don't want that screen. That's my cheat sheet. There we go. Yeah, I was going to try to do a seamless scene from that to that. See how seamless that was? We left Garibaldi in the tube, and now we got Lita and Franklin in the tube on Mars. And DJ likes those train scenes, and you might have seen the series 4 or 5 times, but do you have the Blu-ray? Okay, just want to know. So this is the face of the enemy, and there are going to be the trigger's getting pulled. There's going to be a lot of bullets flying this episode, and Clark has been putting out propaganda saying that if they surrender to Sheridan, they'll be killed and their crews will be replaced in Mubarak. Basically, doing that continuation of fear that the alien is going to be doing something. And haven't we heard stuff like that even recently? That the other countries are pulling strings in here and such. Again, nothing new there.
The classic us first them. War.
Right.
So even when you don't have a war, but even in a war, they always have to demonize the other side. We're fighting for righteousness, good, and everything. Every side in every war says that. As far as the propaganda machine. So again, in this show, it's showing things even in this fantasy futuristic society. That's still the case. You have we have colonies here, Mars. Well, if we colonize Mars in our real world, how long before Mars pulls they want their independence? Eventually that stuff happens. You wouldn't say that on day one. You probably wouldn't say that on year 100. But year 200, when Mars would be, even like in their world, built as sustainable, doesn't really need Earth.
Right.
Logically, you're going to say, we can do a better job. I mean, that's pretty much what our war in independence was. We felt we could do a better job ourselves rather than the king and parliament over in England.
Right.
I think we said that 20 years before, during the whatever you want to call it, 7 years war or the French and Indian War, whatever you want to call it. Because the colonies were scared the French were going to take over. When the French were defeated, and the only people who were left with the English was, okay, well we don't need them neither. Let's go with our own. Well, you get that with even before Sheridan declared independence for Babylon 5. You already have Mars up in the air of wanting to go their own way. So, I like that. I like that story arc, even from way back previous seasons till now. Mars is, you can say, in a battleground. Either there are some people that still want to stay with Earth, and most of them, they have their way. They want to go their own way. So,
well, I think
you already touched on it, Phil, because I was just gonna say it's a divided battleground.
Yeah, I think anytime, whether you have a colony that is full of the people that live in that country that were taken over and became a colony in their country, or you set out and you made your own colony with your own people. Eventually, they don't want to be ruled by the motherland or the fatherland or whatever you want to call it, the homeland. They after a while have their own identity. They don't have any strong connection anymore in their mindset, or they never had one if there was somebody who was conquered. And eventually they want to have their freedom.
Yep.
And look at all the colonies that broke away from the French colonies that broke away, the English colonies, the Portuguese colonies, all the colonies out there.
They want self-rule. Why would they want to be under control of some country that's thousands of miles away? I mean, but here, like they're dealing with in their universe, Mars. It's much like our colony, our War of Independence.
Right.
Not everybody's on board. You have, I always call them percentage. You have 25% of the people that want independence. You have 25% of the people that want to remain loyal to, all right, in this case, Earth. Then you have the people that are in the middle, and they're always the important ones. The 50% that doesn't want to go either way, but eventually they have to make a choice. In our case, in our world, during the Revolutionary War, that 50% eventually says, okay, let's have our independence.
Right.
But
And that's
it could have went the other way.
mm-hmm. Yeah, you got a lot of people that just like, leave us alone. We just want to live our life. You guys have to fight.
Yeah.
Can you guys just quit? Can you guys just quit right now? Right. And and I don't want to be right. And I think that's kind of the model for most of us human beings. Leave us be. Let us live our life. We're the ones that know more about what we like. We're the ones that know what our lives are. We're not cookie cutters. Just leave us be. You don't need to be our nanny. And I think I don't want to be this, this harp on, Babylon 5 versus Star Trek, but I think that's one of the things where Star Trek really has it wrong. They always think that, once they all join the Federation with that, they always want to be with the Federation. We're all one big happy group. And that's not the case. It's like, well, what if we don't want to be part of the Federation anymore? What are you going to do? What to what extent are you going to do to keep us in the Federation? But they don't ever want to touch that because that's supposed to be this utopian future.
The only thing, Baron, that I would say that I was disappointed, and not just this episode, but in this arc, and this what's going on with this President Clark and everything. They focus on Babylon 5 and they focus on Mars.
Right.
Yeah, we don't see anything, and I can understand why, probably for the call. I would like to see liberation of Proxima Prime. I would like to see the other places that were wanting to join Sheridan and their independence away from Earth. I would have loved to see more of that. But we only really see is really what we got on Mars.
You know what I would have liked to have seen is the perspective of the Clark administration on Earth. Yes, we're getting it through the ISN news reports, but actually have an episode where it's Clark and his administration going over what they need to do to get rid of Babylon 5 or bring it back into the fold. Either way.
And maybe how the average person is being treated on Earth too. Because Clark has been using, of course, the Psi Corps, as stated before, as kind of their little police to sniff out dissent, people who might not be happy. What happens with these people? Do they just disappear? And how do people react to that? Yeah, that would be a great one. I mean, we do see something in the next season. Of course, it's going to be post Clark, but from the viewpoint of the other side. But yeah, it would be nice to see something like that. But again, you only have so many episodes. Things are focused around basically what we have in the universe, which is, of course, Babylon 5, Mars, Earth. But yeah, it's been great to see a little bit more. But we're also seeing through the thing the problems that Centauri Prime had, the problems Minbar has. So even there's so many things going on at one time. Like you said, Phil, it would have been great. I would have loved it myself, but there's only hours in the day.
Yeah,
so many dollars.
There's budgetary constraints too that would have prevented them from being able to tell that side of the story from the Earth point of view.
Yeah, so many dollars in the coin. Yeah, so many coins in the pocketbook. And the one thing that Straczynski stated, though, he wanted to keep Clark not so visible intentionally. Basically behind the scenes, away from it. Kind of showing more of the paranoia and such like that. Not having them as engaged as much. So we don't really see Clark as much in Babylon 5 as probably some people would like to.
Keep a mystery about him.
Yeah.
Right.
A proper mystery.
What
Unlike where today, every little mystery has to be uncovered. No, let's keep him in the shadows. Let's make a reference to him here and there that's important to the story. But as far as actually seeing him, no.
I myself at the time wish that we would have seen more of Clark, but I can understand why it was done that way. I really do. I really, really do. Of course, here's one of the most unbelievable scenes of Babylon 5. He's reading a newspaper. Well, you never know. They might come back in the fashion. You never know.
Well, it doesn't look like he's done the crossword puzzle yet.
No, he hasn't. Oh, I wonder what they have for crossword puzzles in the future. Do you think he's a crossword guy? And if he does do the crossword, does he use pencil or ink?
I think he uses pencil.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, he could be. Mm-hmm. Of course, they're going out there. They're trying to convince other commanders who are loyal to the Earth Force or to the Earth Alliance to, hey, don't believe the lies. Don't believe the propaganda. Don't believe what you're being told. We don't want to kill you. We don't want to take you out. This is not what it's about. And of course, Sheridan's having help from his friend McDougal. I think I got that name right. I hope I did. If I don't, please slap me around. But yeah, McDougan. There we go. And they're coming to Mackie. Is that you? Yeah, that's the line. Mackie, is that you? Hey, Veritex, how you doing? Long time no see, by the way. Good to see you. Yeah, Mackie, is that you? It's like, well, if you get Mackie on there, and I'm sure they spread stories about whatever happened to Mackie. Boom, there it is. It kind of helps lead credence to the fact that Clark is lying. And I want to say also hello to Jace of 540 Studios, that crazy Norwegian. I thought you were playing Old Republic, man. Yay. And there's number 1, of course, and she was also in that TV show Space Rangers. Very lovely lady herself. They knew how to pick beautiful ladies in this show, that's for sure. I think they did an even better job finding beautiful ladies than Star Trek did, and they had good-looking ladies in Star Trek. The conversation back and forth about what they're plotting and planning to do with, of course, the telepaths. And needless to say, she's not happy about these guys being smuggled in.
Mm-mm.
Especially if you're part of a secret cell. It's like, what the heck are you doing?
Well, you can't blame her with them being brought in. It's compromising their position.
Mm-hmm. But it is coming to that shit or get off the pot moment with everything coming down. It's like, there's the time that you got to quit being careful and you got to actually go out there and kick ass. And of course, Garibaldi sends a message to Sheridan. They got your dad. You gotta come back. You gotta come back to Mars. You gotta get to Mars. They got your dad. And it's like, do you trust? Well, we've had problems, but this is he's a friend. He's a friend. He was a friend. We relied on each other. I don't think he's lying to me or whatnot. So he's willing to risk going to Mars to meet up with Mr. Garibaldi. And there's the Agamemnon, his old ship. There you go. Look at that. There you go. Some nice tofu for Cash when he comes by. Ramen noodles for every good gamer. Discussing what's going on. Obviously, there's still a lot of trust issues that can be done on here, especially with these telepaths. And now we can kind of figure that there's that Wade, basically what Edgar's is doing is a disease that will infect telepaths. 100% contagious, airborne, completely harmless to normal people that don't have telepathic abilities. And they'll have to take a cure every 2 weeks or they'll die. So basically, they'll be kind of enslaved. If you keep us happy, we'll give you the cure. If we're not happy with you, you don't get the cure and you're going to die. A way to, in their paranoia, try to bring them, shall we say, in line.
Into the fold.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And of course, needless to say, a very tense situation on Mars with everybody involved.
Well,
And
especially since Lita's a telepath.
Mm-hmm. And Lita, you can kind of tell her it's like, I'm just being shuffled and used as a tool again. Here's our welcome home party for Delenn, and of course, not Bester, but why did I say
Lanier?
Bester for? Yeah, Lanier, thank you. And Mr. Garibaldi finally meets up with Sheridan. And going over, hey, what's all going on? And slaps a trank on his hand, knocking him out. And in some ways, he's being betrayed just like Jakar was.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not mistake that, the symbolism is there, people being betrayed. And Garibaldi's getting his 30 pieces of silver. And Sheridan's doing the best he can to resist it. Garibaldi doesn't want him to, and this is when the Earth Force thugs, have the Clark thugs have their chance to kind of rough him up a little bit.
Think about it in our world. What would the British have done if they were able to capture George Washington?
Mm-hmm. Well, you do know that story, don't you?
Yeah.
George Washington went off to pray. He always he would go off and pray by himself, away from the troops and all that. And in doing so, one of the British came along, saw him, and I asked him to identify who he was. And Washington said, "I'm George Washington. I'm General of the Continental Army." The guy didn't believe him because he didn't think that the real Washington would do that, and so he left him alone. But that was his chance to take out Washington if he would have believed him.
They could have took George Washington out at the Battle of the Brandywine, where British sharpshooter had him in his sights. And he decided that he wasn't going to take the shot because back then it was considered unethical for a person to shoot a commanding general or any general at that matter. Unfortunately. So, but you notice years later, not much further down the road, 1812 and Civil War especially, general out front of his troops, man, he's a prime target, and no one says anything then.
Right.
Morals change, rules of war. People don't understand that changes as you go through time. But
right,
when you have like here, capturing Sheridan is just as good as outright defeating whatever rebellion you want to call this.
Right.
It's major. It's huge. Who then steps in place to replace Sheridan? Who would replace George Washington if that would have been the case?
Well, and that's the thing. He was worth more. Sheridan's worth more alive than dead. If he dies again, he would be a martyr, and you don't want a martyr. If you have him captured, it's demoralizing. Plus, if he can try to warp him your way, he can be a useful tool. And of course, the word gets out that, of course, they caught Sheridan with the various effects that we kind of saw there with a few of those pictures, and a little bit of a numbed Garibaldi sitting there with Wade and Edgar's. And there's the disease inside that little capsule, the disease and the cure, to try to keep our esteemed Psycor in line. Edgar thinks he knows it all. Kind of a numbed Garibaldi. And Lise, leaving Garibaldi there, what's going through his mind? Well, he extracts his tooth and sets off a signal. And who does he run into? the smiling man himself. And now we finally find out what happened to Mr. Garibaldi.
Mm-hmm. I thought this was
Of
a
course.
good part of the episode as well.
Yeah, this one. Now, reading the mind, what Edgar's was saying. There we go. And hello to Prismatics. Glad to see that you're awake. The best guy in the world, self-declared. You got it. No, Galaxy. You got it wrong, Veritax. It's Galaxy. He's humble enough not to say the universe. A little taunting, but a little parting gift he's going to give Mr. Garibaldi. He's going to let him know everything. Of course, Garibaldi is paralyzed. He can't do anything. Looking into the mind. And who do we have for a going through the conditioning? Who do we have for a guest star? A guest cameo? I don't know if they're going to show it here, but that was Harlan Ellison that was with him in this scene, doing a little cameo. But here he is. He's leaving. He's deciding, what should I do? Should I kill you? What? Nah, I don't think I'll kill you. I'll just leave you like this. Leave you knowing what you did. He loves Garibaldi so much. And, this shows how good of an actor Koenig is. Anyone sits back and says, about Chekhov, one-note actor. No. And I don't think
it's also nice to find out who's behind Garibaldi's change of behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that this was not him that was doing it. It was a Psychor and their conditioning. Now we know why there was such a dramatic switch in his personality. Unhappy Ivanova. And Garibaldi goes back. There's Wade dying. They've been raided. Edgar's dead. And the disease and cure has been taken away. And there we are with our smug, our smug ISN lady, giving us all the good updates that Clark wants us to know. And of course, there's Sheridan in a cell. Any other rambling thoughts that we have on this episode? Wrapping it through that way.
Well, I love how the previous episode and this episode make connections. They continue the story thread, and we find out how deep this actually is.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, that's what's so great, because you're not constrained to episodic. You're able to spread these stories out, and you're expected to. If you have a one-off episode, you're kind of disappointed. Hey, whoa. How many chats are you in, DJ? I'm kind of feeling a little used here.
He's multitasking.
He's in that chat where he's talking with other people on how to have more colored t-shirts.
I thought it was Turtle Talk. Welcome to Turtle Talk on YouTube. We're going to be talking about turtles of all kinds and how they can breathe through their butt. Okay. 2 at the moment. Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm one of them, DJ.
Snapper soup. Keep them turtles well fed. They're going to be in my soup.
But, yeah, I mean, I kind of got disappointed when you just had a one-off episode. It's like, no, we want this rich storytelling. It's not a soap opera, but it's a story. There's beginnings and ends, and it's leading somewhere. It's not an open-ended book. And bringing back the opera into space opera, and how many people have been trying to copy that since then? I mean, the new Star Trek series are trying to do stuff like that. DS9 tried to pick up that mantle. Even when Doctor Who came back, they tried to, they were kind of every season was kind of an arc, with Bad Wolf and Planets Missing and stuff like that. with this,
Well,
so
what's nice about this season of Babylon 5 is they have planted the seeds early enough where now they're giving you not just crumbs, but a morsel
mhm,
of the story in some
mhm,
cases.
mhm. In some cases, you got the full course. I mean, we got the full course with the end of the Shadow War. But it's like, okay, that's their first course or the second course. We got our third course coming up now. You mean there's more to feed us with?
Yes, you get Space Jesus.
Now, be nice. Any other thoughts on this particular episode that we have going on here? Betrayals galore and psychos
Great
behind
episode.
it.
Great
It is.
episode. But again, this whole arc that we're in right now, it's a great arc
Mhm.
because it shows that Michael Straczynski can write.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. The man is insane for doing it. And we're going to be moving on now to an episode. When I first heard about this episode, when during the first run and such, I didn't know what what was going to be like. It's like this doesn't really sound like an episode that can hold its own. Can they really do this? It sounds like it could be boring. And happy to say, I was wrong. And for me, definitely in the top 5 episodes of Babylon 5. For Mike, he has it as his favorite of Babylon 5. That episode happens to be intersections in real time. A very important meaning on that one. It means that every act in this story is real time. So
Very true. And you could also consider this Babylon 5's chain of command.
right. And again, I don't want to be dumping on Star Trek and all that, but I think they did it better here.
Mm-hmm.
Where Star Trek was more preachy, and yeah, I found it a little bit more preachy. This one just goes right and makes the point by showing you the actual horror without the pontificating, you might say. It just let you go right in the core and seeing how vile people can be to each other, especially people like this. Here we have, of course, our esteemed little interrogator who comes in, sits down, opens up his briefcase, sets everything else nice and neat and in the perfect way, and even making sure everything's lined up, like he's OCD. Of course, a sandwich out there looking at the clock. It's like, okay, now it's time. Now it's time to start. And really, I've heard this is how some of the Gestapo and others would do like their interrogation. And they're going to be your friend. They're going to talk to you. Just all you have to do is talk, man. And
there's the Gestapo kind of just a little touch on that.
Right. In fact, here he is first coming in. They're rolling the table in, bringing in the chair.
This setup here, Baron, the Gestapo borrowed that from us Italians, Muslims. I forget what he called his little secret police thing. Now, what they would do is kind of very similar to what is being done here. Gestapo were a little, they inflicted pain. Not saying others didn't, but they weren't resort to killing someone to get what they wanted. This organization is kind of similar to how Mussolini run his. They didn't kill you. What they had to do most of the time, because they had to follow parliamentary law, because remember, we still had a king. You were allowed to torture, but you weren't allowed to kill. So what they used was castor oil. Okay. So as you're like this individual will be doing questioning you, and if he didn't like the way or the tone or just didn't care one way or the other, would feed you castor oil. They would feed you castor oil.
Mhm.
Well, if anybody knows what happens when you take or even take a sip of castor oil, imagine a whole night of interrogation and getting
Mhm.
spoonfuls here of castor oil. If they
Mhm.
release you the next morning, you're pretty much in a condition where every step you're taking, you're having a bowel movement. That's what
Mhm.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the torture, it's the humiliation. And they
Right.
always release the person technically in the morning,
Mhm.
right when everybody's getting ready to get up and go outside. And
Mhm.
here's this guy that was arrested last week being let go, and he is trying to make his way home, and
Mhm.
he's suing him or herself all the way home. Uh,
Mhm.
it's humiliation,
Mhm.
and it can be quite painful because when you can't control your bowel movement or you're constantly having a bowel movement, things get a little sore there. I'm
Right.
not trying to be disgusting. Well, my point is,
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be physically, I'm going to beat you up or I'm going to get
Mhm.
the car battery and water and torture you that
Mhm.
way. The
Right.
Muslimese people did it this way: have somebody sit there and talk to you. And again, if
Mhm.
you didn't get the right answer, we're going to shove a spoonful of castor oil down your throat. And after
Right.
you're done with that, they're going to ask you more questions. And if they didn't like it or you didn't tell them what they wanted to hear, you get more castor oil. So
Mhm.
I love this episode, and I love this guy that plays the interrogator because he does it
Yep.
perfectly. And again,
Yeah.
it isn't like
He,
he's
he does a wonderful job.
yeah,
Yep.
and
Great
it
work.
he's doing it. He's not physically torturing him, and even tells him, "I'm not going to physically torture you. We
No.
don't do that here, but I am going to get the answers I want, and I will make you or have you reveal them to what I want to know to me."
Mhm.
How he manipulates Sheridan too. Are you sure this is the correct day? Are you sure it's the correct time?
Mhm.
Are you sure it's lunchtime?
Do you
Mhm.
want a sandwich? That was the cruelest one because he
Mhm.
had
Mm-hmm.
and God knows how long, and he's eyeing that sandwich.
Mhm. A
You
corned beef sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
that was torture, man. That was
Mhm.
torture.
And it's
So
like, are you sure it's day? Well, I see the light underneath the door. It's like with a control. Well, it's gone now. It's like, is it day? Is it night? You don't know. You're in this room. You have no time. It's you're disoriented in that fashion. And of course, the obviously the bruises we see here is from when he was arrested. This is actually a lot closer to what a true interrogation or trying to get someone to switch sides, show them that they're doing the wrong thing. You might say, actually, more is it's not taking the rubber hose to someone and pounding on them. A lot of interrogators would consider that barbaric and beneath. It's the wordplay. It's the twisting of the mind. It's more psychological, and that's what Sheridan's facing is a psychological battle.
Mm-hmm. It truly is psychological warfare.
Mm-hmm.
if I remember correctly in this episode, they also captured his dad. Am I right?
That's what the report is that his dad was captured. Yes.
Yeah. So that's also psychological torture to him because his nearest family member is his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And now they got him because remember they were trying to keep him hidden because they didn't want Clark people to get a hold of him to use it
Right.
against him. So
And that was the thing. That's why he went to Mars and got betrayed by Garibaldi in the first place, was because he heard his dad got captured. It's like, now,
yeah,
how strong
that's,
is your.
that's the look right there when he's eyeing that corned beef sandwich, man, right there, and I cannot blame him.
Well, that's not him looking at the sandwich. He's looking at his interrogator. As his interrogator is getting everything nice and ready. The lights come on. Of course, we got to have the infamous lights. Boom, boom. Of course, this is where he's telling about the lights because, opens the door. See the lights out there? Yeah, that's what you're seeing. See, day, night, doesn't matter. We're messing with you, man.
Even the tone of his voice is messing with him. The way he's
Mm-hmm.
speaking. And
Yeah. He being friendly, but yet it's not friendly. Everything's an act. Oh yeah. By the way, I have to zap you because you weren't behaving. It's like, not, I don't want to do that. Please don't have me do that. I hate having you in such, with pain and all. We want to have a conversation. I'm your friend. I'm your new friend here. Taking down all the information. And don't get yourself, folks. Everything he's doing is a show for Sheridan. Everything is to hit him psychologically. Every move, every word, every item that's placed on that desk. Every move.
Mm-hmm. They want to break him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when it comes around to like science fiction, right? An entire episode that's just based in a room, basically, like this, in almost a two-man play. Oh, it's time to eat. Oh yeah, you're hungry, aren't you? You want some? Okay, you can have some here. Have some. I'll let you go. Just behave. You can have a sandwich. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But the right amount of
corned
mustard.
beef.
Right? Yeah, it's corned beef. Gotta have the right amount of mustard. Yeah, you want it? Are you hungry? Yeah, we can.
I mean, Sheridan's got the hungry eyes there.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. And of course, part of this is to try to win favor overseas. We're nice. We're nice.
Because also in this episode, it doesn't tell you how many days Sheridan's been there.
No.
So it leaves you wondering.
Mm-hmm. We don't know how long this is all taking. And of course, the grandstanding he has. And of course, the big information that the corned beef sandwich was poisoned, which is the reason why that they focused, if you saw earlier, they focused on the drain. There's a reason why there's a drain there, folks. Mm-hmm. And Sheridan's not doing so good from the poisoned corned beef sandwich. Here, have something to drink. This time, nothing nefarious about it. And of course, clink, clink. And we have our battle with back and forth again. Again, also showing the acting chops of Bruce Boxleitner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be able to do like this two-man play, limited movement, static almost most of the time, and seeing across from
as good as it was watching Patrick Stewart and the late David Warner go back and forth in Chain of Command on Next Generation. Mm-hmm. I think this was, a few notches above it.
Yeah.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's Patrick Stewart, so I'm going to downgrade it anyway. So.
Oh, Phil, behave. We can't take him anywhere, Mike, can we?
No, we can't. It's just like Cash. We can't take him anywhere.
Well, he obviously got taken somewhere. Did the whole food?
He's been abducted. His CCP people came and grabbed him.
Oh, what we have here? We have a Drazi that comes in. Drazi doesn't look like in good shape, and he's pleading with Sheridan. Come on, please. It's like, I don't want to die. They're going to kill me. just let them know that they have you.
Tell them what they want. They want.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now it's time to send him to cell 19, if I remember right. Is that the one? 19?
And I'm pretty sure due to his military experience, thanks to, teaching him, he knows that being under interrogation and giving information that they want at one point will probably lead to them just discarding him anyway. So the longer you can hold information and revealing, as long as you got something, they're not going to want to kill you because they want it. But once you give it up, then you got nothing left.
And this is what they want. This is what they want. His confession.
Mhm.
They want him to show that he's on
They
the
want him
side of
decided.
President Clark. It's not what you know. We already know. We already know about Delenn. We already know all this other stuff. Don't think we don't have anybody, but yeah, that we want you to sign this. We want to take the wind out of your rebellion.
Mhm.
That's the brass tacks of it all.
It's not what you know. It's what you can tell us to end your side of this civil war.
Of course, having oops, I hate when that thing pops up. There we go. Of course, seeing Delenn, which of course is his mind, subconscious or whatever, trying to keep him strong through the whole thing. Even though he's not necessarily fighting for her, she's still that strength. She's been there with him. He can't let her down. Boy, he just looks so.
They did a wonderful job on Bruce Boxleitner's makeup too, to make him look like he's just exhausted and
it had to
under
bother
a lot of stress. And
right.
It had to bother him a lot because knowing him as an actor and as a person, he's not a fan of stubble. If you ever see him, most of his roles and the way he portrays himself as clean shaven. All right. I can only think of one role is in Gods and Generals when he plays Longstreet, but then the beard they give him is fake. All right. But here, they must have obviously told him, all right, for the next couple days, don't shave. And you can see the stubble and everything. And for him as an actor and as a person, I could tell you that probably bothered him because he loves to be as clean shaven as possible. Even when you see him on Scarecrow and Mrs. King, he's as clean shaven as could be. So
right. But he did.
But it could have also been a thing where he read the script for this episode and maybe he just, like any actor, got really into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to look the part.
It's realistic because they're not going to let you shave. Probably not going to let in real life if they're torturing you or they're trying to get information from you.
Yeah, you're not shaving.
Yeah, you anything you normally would do, you in their eyes, in order for them to do it, you have to give them something, or you would have to earn it in some way. Like the sand, like the water. So that's realistic. He's not going to be clean shaven. He's going to look like he's rough. Probably smelling ripe. I don't think in the shoots he was ripe. I'm just saying portraying and looking like he's ripe. I give him credit, man. Like that's difficult for someone to pull off.
Well, actually, he didn't really get into the part. He didn't clean himself. He made sure he was smelly and all that. Like, if I'm going to play it right. Now, of course,
Bruce, when you get home, take a shower.
Yeah, please. Do it for Michelle Gilbert, please. But as it goes, it's like, you're not going to sign. I've been trying hard as possible, but you're going down to room 17 like that poor Drazi. You're going to be taken out now. If just sign. If you would have just signed, I was trying to save your life. Of course, he's being put on the trolley. Go down there and wait a moment. The Drazi, who was supposed to have been killed, is working for them. And now he goes into another room, just like the one he was in. And now comes the new interrogator. And the cycle continues on with another interrogator. Which reminds me of The Prisoner, to be honest with you. With all the new number 2s. Who's going to be the one that's going to break number 6? And, boom, this is now which interrogator is going to be the one that finally breaks him.
If this first guy couldn't do it, maybe this next guy can. And if not this next guy, then the one who follows him.
Right. because again, they don't want him dead, and they probably realize, I mean, it's part of the game. We're going to shift it out. We're going to keep things confusing, where you can start getting an understanding of the of one guy, get rid of him, put a new one in there, throws off the games, like putting in a new picture, putting a left-hander in after a right-hander was out there, type of thing, and fresh.
A lot of times, you get some people in some organizations still do typical good cop, bad cop.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're doing in war military interrogation like this, you would have sometimes they would do the good cop, bad cop role. So
Right.
you have one guy who's always nice to you. Hey man, I understand how you feel. I sympathize. And then you get the other guy that's hardballing it, and he's like, I don't care about you. I don't like you. And frankly, if
Right.
I had my way, I'd take you outside and shoot you.
I'm going to put this electrode on your right testicle, this other one on your left testicle, and I'm plugging it in until you give me what you want. I mean, that's just as brutal as that. Really. But again, this is all psychological.
Yeah.
And now the cycle begins again. And that's, really, again, a simple plot. The back and forth, what goes on. Almost Playhouse 90 type of thing, where you have one of the episodes based on an interrogation. And Straczynski now has it for Babylon 5 and one of our favorite characters. What was the big thing that really excited you about this episode, or put this episode on such a high tier for you, Mike?
Honestly, like I said before, I think they did this episode better than what Next Generation did with 2 parts of Chain of Command.
Mm-hmm. Got to the nitty-gritty better. Got to that.
Yeah, they didn't dilly-dally. They didn't beat around the bush. They said, okay, here you go.
Mm-hmm. When this first came around, though, and you heard about the episode, were you kind of like me? It's like, how are they going to sustain an episode like this over, an hour broadcast time, or what is it, about 45 minutes or so?
I didn't know how they were going to do it. How are you going to pull this off in such a short amount of time, where Next Generation had 2 episodes to pull it off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you never mind. You know what I was trying to say.
Compartmentalize.
Thank you very much. You got it out where I couldn't get it out. And, what would be cut. But the brilliant thing, though, too, is the fact that every act is in real time. Which I think makes the episodes even flow better, because you start getting intrigued in what the people are saying. You're not being jarred away to a B arc. I think if they would have started going to a B arc story, this episode wouldn't have any impact. Which was, again, Chain of Command, the 2-parter. That's kind of the problem, where you had your other arc going along, or arcs, I think, in that one, along with the Picard being interrogated scene. And so you weren't able to really fully focus on the horrors of all this. It didn't hit you as much because you did have that breakaway, and you shouldn't have that.
You don't always need to have that B plot line if you want to continue on with the A plot line, because it's a focal point of what's going on. Then focus on it. Make it the center of your story, as it should be.
Exactly. And of course, the intersections being the commercial breaks, the end of each act. So those were the intersections of real time. I mean, just the naming of the episodes, J. Michael Straczynski had an art form for doing so.
And it's not like you don't see the other characters in this episode. You do represent different aspects of Sheridan's personality.
And a little flashback too. A little bit of a flashback, and which is good. It sets what it's about, but again, it's not the focal point. And of course, what's the one thing that's keeping them going through the whole thing? Delenn. You know, that special person, just like a lot of people help them gain through, is what special person or thing in your life.
She represents his strength.
And love.
I say for me, when it comes to sci-fi and this type of interrogation or dialogue, my number one, and it's tied, it's this episode from Babylon 5 and another from another series, Stargate SG-1, when Daniel Jackson is taking on Anubis and talking to him at the diner, not realizing that is Anubis. And they have this dialogue. It's not much of an interrogation, but it's a mind game, very similar.
Right.
And it's not until the end of the episode that Daniel Jackson realized you're Anubis, you know, and everything, their entire dialogue. Yes, they were questioning each other, and the surprise, and then the choice that he has to make in his episode. But here with Sheridan, I always had the feeling during this whole entire episode, he was holding his own. He might have looked a little defeated. He might have wanted that sandwich, but he was playing the chessboard just as much as these two interrogators were. And yeah, they might have thought that they were winning and everything, but he might not have had a lot of chess pieces. But he was playing with pawns, and if anybody knows in chess, if you have pawns, sometimes you can beat a knight, a king, or excuse me, a knight, a queen, a bishop, or a rook. It doesn't make a difference. You never underestimate the pawn. And he might only have pawns with his part of his chessboard, but they were enough. You know, even when he had to regress and go deep inside and use Lynn as a inspiration, that we could say, he wasn't breaking. He was not breaking, you know, and that's the important thing. And that could have been also done again, the character from his military training. Now everybody's different. Everybody can have the same military training where they train you how to do, how to survive interrogation. Okay. Some people can go a week. Some people can go a month. Some people can go maybe a year. I really think that Sheridan, if he had to go a year, his mindset, he can go a year. All right. But he was still capable to play the game. Oh, you want me to do this to get a sandwich? I'll do that, but you're not getting that much from me in order for me to get that sandwich.
Right. Well, yeah, again, it's that psychological warfare back and forth. Who's going to have the stronger...
And probably maybe Sheridan is 3 steps ahead of what they think that there might be 2 steps ahead. He's still that one more step ahead of them. So, yeah, this was a great episode, man.
It's a chess game, really.
Right. Exactly. Well, this is what JMS had to say about it, especially when someone was asking him, because at the time, Closet Land was in the entertainment buzz at the time. But they said, it's been based. Has the story been based on Closet Land because of all the similarities? Well, basically, the similarities he runs off of is these are all typical interrogations, and this is where it changes. And his final statement on this is, "No, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking about Closet Land, or Star Trek, or The Prisoner, or as much as anything else when I wrote this episode. I was thinking about this character from this show who must be made to confess to alien influence, which has been paraded by Earth Force for almost a year now. It is an absolute and logical extension of what has gone before. As someone who has degrees in both psychology and sociology, and who has been a supporter of Primetime Entertainment Network, a multinational group that monitors the treatment of PEN. Sorry, did I say PEN? PEN, PEN International, a multinational group that monitors the treatment of writers who are prisoners of conscience in other countries for years. I have had a long-standing interest and familiarity with this area. And through my European roots with relatives who were in Germany and Poland when the camps were in full swing, and later when the Russian government beat down its own people, I have plenty of personal background on this. So he's even pulling out of history of, basically his the roots,
his own family history, his own roots.
Right. Where he came from, the nationality his family came from. And of course, in some of it, seeing it as you're growing up, because obviously he's older than we are. So, the stuff with the Russian government and how things were in change for even worse under Stalin.
I think even worse than the Russians, was the East German Stasi.
Yep, the Stasi.
I think they were even more hardcore.
Oh yeah, they made the KGB queasy sometimes.
I mean, if I remember correctly, it was the members of Stasi. They had so many people that I think 1 out of 5 people, and they didn't even know it, were 1 out of 5. Think about that. Were members of the Stasi in some form or fashion.
Right.
So they would report you for anything. You talk bad about the government, talk bad about the political party, or anything. At that time in East Germany, that was enough to put you into the gulag or send you out to Siberia, even though that's not part of East Germany. Believe me, the Stasi sent people out as far as Siberia. Hey, you're going out there, clear yourself.
Well, they were, with Russia, under their thumb. So of course, yeah, and knowing that, in school, with the indoctrinating they're doing with the kids in school, where they would report their own parents. Their parents say something over dinner with the kid there, and the kid goes and tells the teacher, and the teacher reports it to the Stasi. The Stasi come by, knock on the door, say, "Can you come with us, please?" Yep. And sometimes that's the last he saw of them. But like a Spy Family, watching that Spy Family, and of course the humorous about that because it's taking place in kind of a pseudo Cold War, fictitious European countries. But that's just it. Is the one lady's an assassin who's married to a spy for the other side, and only on paper to make a good show for both of them. And her brother happens to be part of the secret police. Yeah. It's like that is not such an outrageous concept at all. It happened.
They would take people that were working in manufacturing, which was big at the time, and you had to produce. So you had to produce on general 40 hours a week, just like you do here, normally 40 hours. Well, the East German government, which they did, required you to then do 50 hours, but you're still getting paid as 40 hours. You had to do it, even if you didn't like it. So if you went home and complained, I didn't get paid for these 10 hours. You're supposed to be gung-ho for the state. State comes first. Your wife could complain on you. Your neighbors can complain on you. And your own kids can complain on you. And normally, if you're lucky, if the Stasi came and let you go in a week or a month. But in most circumstances, you're looking at going to jail as, what would they deem you, an unlikable, pretty much. And you could do years. And your own family are told to report you. They still have files that when Germany reunified, that they're still going through how many people were arrested on charges as stupid as that.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, real daytime, all we have to do is take a look at the Hermit Kingdom itself and how oppressed they are in North Korea. How, again, you be careful what you say or what you listen to. Because if I remember right now, if you get caught with even South Korean bootleg DVDs or tapes or whatever it is that they use up there, and watch those, you can be executed now.
Yeah, if your TV there in North Korea has an antenna, and you end up watching a South Korean broadcast, you go to jail. You get caught. 5 years, mandatory. No ifs, no. Look, there's no ifs or buts about it. As soon as they catch it, 5 years, done.
Right.
That's it. So
And you have to have your
watching the broadcast.
Yeah, and you have to have your radio on at all time. In main ways, some of the places have the radio built into the wall. I mean, it's real 1984 stuff, folks. So what this episode showing, which was what, almost 35 years ago. 30 years ago, because that was not quite 30 years ago. It was 97 that this originally aired. But all the way back then, you can now see similarities to some of the horrors as the internet society got this world smaller to be able to see what else is going on out in the world outside of our 50 little states. So yeah, I think this episode was powerful in that sense that when it comes around to interrogation, don't think Hollywood. It's more stuff like this. It's not let's beat you, pound you into submission. They know that doesn't
it's
work.
Always depending on who's doing the interrogating. Like I said, some countries, yes, they do have an extreme. But in general, some countries have it where the torture is mental, not physical. And other countries are purely 100% physical. I don't want me to be mean and bring it up, but if you look what happened recently over in Russia, them guys that got caught, not that I would be showing any sympathy for, one of them already lost the ear. And if you know Russians, how they interrogate people, he should be grateful he only lost an ear.
Well, just look how they escorted the person from one of them from point A to point B. Basically, had fully hunched over and literally dragged, violently from point A to point B with a hood over him, so he can't, disorientated.
And think about this: yes, they're being questioned, interrogated, and Russians ain't gonna be nice about it.
No,
but them guys should be grateful that that's happening to them. Because if they fed them through the crowd, it'll be Wild Wild West. Let's hang them.
Right.
So
yeah,
and I'm not trying to be, sympathetic, but
right.
What I'm trying to say is, even in today's world, on this day, the stuff is, like I said, interrogations going on right now. Right. Some countries like Russia, over here, we pretty much were frowned upon. Oh, you cut off that guy's ear. No, okay. Over there, no. And they should be grateful. Like I said, there's probably a whole crowd of people there, and rightfully so, that they threw him out in the street. He wouldn't last 2 minutes to tear him apart. So,
right. well, the thing is too is we're talking about the psychological back and forth with a lot of interrogation. There are times when it depends on the person that they know they have to use physical violence on the person for them to break. It's all who they're depending. Someone like Sheridan trying to beat him up and use torture like that isn't going to be what's going to break him. And besides, they don't want him to look roughed up, beat up, or anything. They're trying to coerce him into signing these papers and look good for the camera, to be their little puppet. Of course, we all know what happened. Once his usefulness of being a puppet is over, he'll disappear, if you know what I mean. Even the Russians are that way. For these guys here, they know they have to beat these guys to get what they want. These guys are scared, and they're more than happy. Plus, there's a little bit of revenge. But even with the KGB, they're little interrogations like this because it's right out of the playbook. You want to, get the cliff notes of interrogating. This is look at this episode. This is your cliff notes to it. Any other, anything else about this gentleman?
No. Like I said, great episode.
Wonderful episode.
If there's one watch, it's a necessary watch, especially for this season.
Right.
It's not the entire series.
Mm-hmm. And if it makes you uncomfortable watching it, then it's doing what's supposed to be doing.
That's the purpose of it.
Mm-hmm. This isn't to be nice. It's not good times, folks. Well, before we go, of course, Cash must have got lost in the cheese doodle aisle, going back to get Phil's bugles. Thank you very much, Phil, for relating it.
We didn't need him. Was he missed?
Who?
Well, see, there you go. My whole point.
I always miss when Cash not around. I
do.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we go,
no money is better than cash money.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we go though, a couple things. First of all, to make this part even faster, any plans on anything coming up for your particular channels? I know, Phil, you're kind of on a hiatus right now, but we're waiting with bated breath when you feel like doing it, and I'll be there to help you out.
I appreciate it. Like I said, you and Mike know my situation.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of choice that I want to. It's unfortunately health reasons. But at least I can come up here, help my friends, and join a wonderful stream with two people that I enjoy. And grateful the other special one didn't show up today. You know.
Well, now your kind words, Phil. Your kind words makes me feel bad because my finger was pressed on this, and I'm going to press it through anyways.
From McCracken, worst troll ever.
Okay.
Well, I'm everyone's favorite troll.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. There you go. I mean, you got your fans.
Phil McCracken, you will never have to beg me for coupons.
How did you get Leia Rose to do that?
Well, we talked. She wanted to do something sweet for you.
When you have Leia Rose as a member of your fan club, you don't need anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how can I do better? You know, cash money. Where is he? No, we might joke, and we all joke, even off stream. But it's always good to dab cash money here and there.
Yeah. Oh, we all take it in good stride. You're ribbing, Mr. McCracken, and of course, vice versa. Now, you, Mike. Of course, we have that big show tomorrow. Oh, wait a moment. I guess we don't, unless, of course, it happens to be as a pirate ship. But please tell us what's happening on Pacific 414.
Well, there won't be a Sunday edition of Pacific 414 Pop Talk, as we are all taking the time to spend the Easter holiday with our families, or in my case, family member. And it's going to be a nice day for us all. But Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern will be an episode of Pacific 414 Pop Talk, but not just any episode of Pacific 414 Pop Talk. It's actually my birthday Monday, so it's going to be a birthday stream. And that's no joke. So that'll happen at 6 p.m.
We joke about it all the time about him being our April Fool.
Happy birthday. It's hard as we're getting older. We tend not to care, but you know what? That one day, getting a little piece of cake, it's well worth it.
Yeah,
so I hope you have a good, happy birthday.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it, brother.
Anytime.
But that'll start at 6 p.m. Eastern on Monday. It'll be on the YouTube channel and the Rumble channel, and it'll also be an open panel. The only thing I ask is that if you do need to promote yourself or anyone else that you know, wait till either you're getting ready to leave and let us know in the private chat, or when we're about to end the show. And then on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll be playing more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, it'll be Baron, Cash, and myself, and we'll be talking about some of the latest news and pop culture and entertainment. And that'll be on the YouTube channel, the Twitter page, and also Rumble. And Tuesday's Final Fantasy stream will be on YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble. And then Thursday, I'm going to be playing more Mad Max at 6 p.m. Eastern. And that'll also be on the YouTube channel, the Rumble channel, and the Twitch channel. Yep, that's pretty much what I got.
Swinging that big giant sword of yours around, impressing the ladies. And of course, I'm sure if we had a Cash Monet here, he'd probably sit back and say about the gaming stream on Friday. Mr. Frustrated Cash Monet about we're going to get this done, and we're going to keep playing Vermintide 2 until we get through it all. It's like, okay, relax. I swear, he was the one that was most upset about it all.
You need to take that ADT drug, what called Ritalin. You need to take some of that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we did try to tell them they've increased the difficulty.
You won't believe us, but they did, man. I can tell it. I mean, we never had that much problem, and we have lower powered characters. You know,
I have one thing to add before we go. It's my new monthly thing. You know, every month I try to have a new thing. And my new brand for the month of April, smash the like. Smash the like. Even if you're on someone's stream and you're on a panel or you're playing a game with somebody, smash the like. You only get 24 hours of free recommendation. And every time you smash the like, that keeps it that much longer in the recommendation. So there's 4 people on the stream. Smash the like, and even if it's don't feel conscious about smashing your own like, smash it. Smash the like. So if there's
Let the algorithm know that you're enjoying what you're watching, and
because
it'll recommend the content to other.
24 hours is all YouTube gives you for free, and you want to take advantage of them 24 hours. You know, I don't like how YouTube has changed in that way. I think that a money grab, but I will end my rant on that. That's all I say is if you stream yourself, smash your like. If you're on there, even if you're in the chat for a minute, smash the like. And if you're gaming or playing on the stream, smash the like. It's do wonders with that. So that's the April of 2024 theme of Phil McCracken. Smash
the algorithm needs to know that you're enjoying the content, regardless of what channel it is.
Yep.
Is that why I downvoted my own video?
Well, even downvotes help, believe it or not.
Yep, I know.
I have never heard that. That's probably a first time on YouTube that someone downvoted their own channel. Now that would have been something I would have thought Cash Money would do, but Baron, you shocked me there.
Yeah, hey,
but also what'll help the algorithm too is if you leave a comment, and then it's up to the channel owner to actually respond, or even just leave a heart.
You know, and smash the like in the comment. Smash the like. Even there. That helps. The more times you can smash a like in the comment section or for the stream or video itself, that all helps in the algorithm. So,
yeah. I don't know. The more smash I get, the worse I feel the next morning. Oh, you're not talking about that smash. Never mind.
I want you to think, and I'm going to use psychological like we got from this episode. Think of the Noid back for the pizza commercial. Think of this Cash Money, and every time you hit the like, it sends a little shock, like a shock collar on Cash Money. There you go.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember the slogan for the Noid when Domino's would use it, but it was "Avoid the Noid."
Avoid the Noid.
Yep. I like the Noid. He was fun.
Yes,
but of course, I would be remiss if I didn't thank the great DJ Ronnie G, watcher of 2 streams, chatting in 2 chats. The man has multiple talents and multiple turtles.
As well, because I want them for Snapper Soup. Beat them all.
Then that's Snapper Soup.
Now,
of course, we have Veritax. Veritax. We have Veritax. Been a while since we've seen you. Good to see you again. We have Jace Fox from 540 Studios. We all know that. Yeah, that crazy Norwegian and his one of his partners right there, Prismatics.
Never heard of him.
The old man who looks like he's sorry for something, besides being my father. We have.
Make sure you tell him that, Baron. Don't worry about it.
And then we have, of course, Low Spec Linux Laptop, everyone's favorite penguin besides Punk Waddle. And for some reason, the old man is in here twice.
I feel so touched.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thank you, gentlemen, very much for joining me for this again. And I wanted to thank everyone who was in the chat and anyone who might be listening across all the platforms that this happens to be on, Facebook, YouTube, and Twix. I thank you for taking time out with this. We hopefully will next week continue our discussion on Babylon 5 and hopefully have the master to himself, Cash Monet. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and you take care out there. We love you all.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter,
everybody.
Bye. Well, it helps if I find this.